Pillow over face during sex. I-18F put a pillow over my face during sex. Now I know this is an odd thing to do, and I don't think I do it for the normal reason of hiding my facial expressions. I'm a sex-repulsed asexual. I let my boyfriend have sex as I believe I have to compromise. He doesn't like me putting the pillow over my head, but it's the only way I will do it. I believe it may be to try to dissociate from the situation that I don't want to be in. It's partly to hide face, as sometimes I cry from the pain and how I feel. Has anyone done something for similar reasons? Any other reasons I may do it? Does your partner know why you're doing it? If you're not enthusiastically into having penetrative sex, don't have penetrative sex. That's not an area in which you need to compromise. Compromise would be finding ways in which you are comfortable pleasing them. If any. Preferably ones in which you don't feel the need to disassociate or incur unwanted pain and suffering. Better yet, find someone who will have no desire to disregard that boundary. At the very least, tell your partner. Make sure they know this isn't about experience. This is who you are and the way you are. You guys need to break up. You've stated in multiple comments that he needs penetrative sex to feel satisfied, which is totally valid on his part. What's not valid is him not caring about your experience and the fact his nut is causing you trauma. You are also not being fair to yourself by agreeing to have sex when you don't want to. You might love him, but this relationship is headed down a path of resentment and has no realistic future unless you're cool with him having other partners on the side. You are going to traumatize yourself doing that. Find a relationship that works for you. It isn't a compromise if you are hurting yourself. Your boyfriend doesn't know jack about what it means to be asexual. Neither do I really. But at least I know what I don't know. I would like to thank everyone who has given me advice. I was already on the fence about ending, but now I know it's definitely for the best. Any advice on how to go about it would be much appreciated. This is so unhealthy. You need to let him go and be with someone with a comparable sex drive. Your relationship will not last. If you're asexual, you shouldn't be in a relationship with someone who is sexual. There are romantic asexuals out there for you to date. You don't have to compromise. Please stop having sex you don't enthusiastically want to be having. You don't have to have sex to satisfy him. And forcing yourself to do it isn't right. He may not like the thought of him forcing you. You need to tell him the truth and either accept it, change it, or end it. Because right now, if you don't want it, and you're wanting distance yourself, that's a form of rape. And even though you consent, it is still unwanted. I've read through the replies and the boyfriend seems terrible. Break up with him. If you don't want to have sex, don't have sex. It's not that complicated. If you're asexual, you need to be with someone who is also asexual. It's that simple. This sounds like some kind of trauma response. But of course, I don't know you or your history with trauma. So put whatever weight into that as you see fit. I just know that once upon a time, I was seeing a girl, and when we finally decided to have sex, she turned on this very loud, very aggressive metal song, laid on her back, turned her head to the side and squeezed her eyes closed the entire time. I couldn't do it. It made me feel like I was doing something wrong, or that she was trying to roleplay her trauma. The relationship fizzled out right after, but not before a very uncomfortable conversation. I think you need to tell your BF what's going on. If he knew you were crying under the pillow, I can't imagine he'd want to continue doing that to you. This won't work long term. You can't keep traumatizing yourself every time you have sex. Compromising when it comes to sex isn't possible. You have to be into it. You aren't. Crying and dissociating isn't normal, and if he don't respect your sexuality, leave. You will find someone better. I know it don't seem like it now, but you will. If he care for you, he wouldn't put you through it, hun. Stop having sex if you're repulsed by it. You do not need to compromise here. Compromise is a sex-neutral asexual person and a non-as person with an average libido agreeing to have sex at a frequency that makes them both comfortable. Compromise is not a sex-repulsed person engaging in an act that literally traumatizes them. Because that's what you're doing, babe. Dissociation is a form of coping with trauma. Sex should not hurt, physically or mentally. And it sounds like you're experiencing both. Whose idea was this compromise? Yours or your boyfriend? Signed, a fellow ace, Purple Heart, Black Heart. Okay, I don't like jumping to breaking up. Because I understand there may be some need of yours he's fulfilling for now that you are prioritizing more than your sexual needs. But you're very young. And at your age I had some sexual experiences that I just grit my teeth to get through. And then had nightmares about years later. These were experiences where I technically said yes. Sure, let's have sex. But I frankly didn't feel like I had a choice. It made me feel unsafe with future partners for years. Made sleeping and dreaming a total menace on my days. And this is from a sexual person with a high libido. Over time I've learned to not compromise with my mental health. Because I realized how much bad, unwanted sex affected my long-term mental health. With my current partner, I can stop abruptly for no apparent reason in the middle of things. And he will just take a bunch of deep breaths and try to calm himself down so that his desire is not my problem. This is respect and bodily autonomy. Your relationship as it is untenable. Don't put your heart, your wellness at risk just for some guy to occasionally get his rocks off. You compromised by letting him inside your body. That's huge. An enormous sacrifice on your part. So what's his compromise? Does he even appreciate or even acknowledge your sacrifice? He's not even making sure you're lubricated enough to not be in pain. Which would be the bare minimum if you weren't sex repulsed. Because you are ace. The bare minimum is asking, respecting, and finding other solutions for his needs. Things will get better. They almost always do. But it won't be with this man as he currently is. Either he changes and respects that your bodily autonomy is non-negotiable. Not wanting to have sex is enough reason to not have sex, or you'll end up in a happier relationship later with someone who will not dismiss your wellness for his convenience. Trust me, girl. You don't ever have to compromise to get a happy relationship by sacrificing this much. If you're not enthusiastically consenting, you're not consenting. Stop. Immediately. You are putting yourself through trauma that you shouldn't have to experience. If your boyfriend isn't okay with no sex, you both are not the right person for each other. That's okay. But you need to end it. You never have to compromise on what makes you comfortable around sex. If you are not totally 100% in it, then that's a no. If you never want to have sex again, that is a valid choice, and anyone who tells you otherwise is not respecting your boundaries. Hun, you're worth more than this, and I think, deep down, you know this isn't where you're supposed to be. Could it be you feel like you are trading your body for to be loved, and the shame of those emotions make you hide so the pillow?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.